And we are live. All right, welcome everyone. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to see everyone, by the way. Welcome to the Help Me Rhonda show. It has been over 4 weeks since I have been live. And the funny part is, all of you are going to notice this, it is Thursday, and I never host my show on a Thursday night. But today is a very, very special episode. I just arrived in Orlando, and I said, I need to have a really special guest on the show this week. So I'm super excited. So guys, welcome to the Help Me Rhonda show. Remember, this is where we talk about building sexy brands and turning them into profit-making machines. This is the place where the action happens, where we bring on incredible guests that have not only been building integrity-based businesses, but ultra sexy brands and also helping other people not only change their perspective on what is possible in this world in business and how to truly change the world and create impact with their message. So if you are here for the very first time, welcome. You're in for a treat because it's a special edition. But I would love to have every one of you that are joining me live, please right now tag someone or share this show. The topic of today is powerful, and it's about trust. How often in business is the underlying message trust, but we don't ever talk about it. So I brought in an expert, actually someone that I've known for a very long time. In fact, as long as I have been in business and running my business online, I have been following and listening and learning from this guy. And it's so super cool to have my guest today. So let me do a really quick introduction because it's really, it's important for me to set this stage here because, you know, there's mentors in your life that you meet or that you never physically meet in person, but they have left such an incredible impact on your life and on your business. And Troy Dooley is this very mentor that I started in my business. Goodness, it has been now, it'll be 14 years this coming January that I quit my corporate job to build my business online. I tapped into the home-based business space, network marketing space over 14 years ago. And the very person that I started following and listening to was Troy Dooley. So let me give you guys a little background because, you know, it definitely deserves this time. Troy is internationally recognized. He's an influential voice in the whole business community, especially the online space. He's both a critic and creates a lot of I don't know, it disturbs a lot going on in the business place. But your primary focus has always been in purpose-inspired communication and risk mitigation. Troy, your range has gone from startups, it's been network marketing, international public corporations, billion-dollar private companies, international marketing organizations, and well-respected entrepreneurs. Well, I'd hope to say that I'm one of them because I've definitely followed you. I know why my business is so integrity-based. It's a lot because of Troy and what I've learned from him. But more importantly, guys, Troy is the founding member of the former board of directors of the Association of Network Marketing Professionals. That's where I found him. But more importantly, the former radio show host and news director of the Home-Based Business Radio Network. Faculty member of Direct Selling Edge Educational Conferences, and has been named the Direct Sales Hall of Fame, which is pretty amazing, and received Lifetime Achievement Awards for his advocacy work inside direct selling communities, and named one of the top 2,500 communicators worldwide by Influencing Times. I mean, seriously, I had to read that, Troy, because it's so powerful. And you absolutely, you deserve every bit of that time. And so without any further ado, Troy Dooley, welcome to the Help Me Rhonda show. How are you?
It's an honor for me just to be here. I mean, I follow you guys all over the world, literally. So this is a blast.
I love it. It's so awesome. Hey, Larcy, will you let me know, is Troy's voice coming through clear? Is it a little vibration?
Yeah, there's a little vibration. Maybe switch microphone now.
Yeah, we just might want to turn the mic down just a little bit. A little vibe came through. Well, it's super cool. Thank you for that. But I tell you, guys, I have been in, is that my microphone too? Whoa, what's going on? That is...
No, it's Troy's. It's Troy's. I tried to mute him out. It's Troy's.
Okay, so we'll just work this out. But I want to talk this out a little bit because,
Yep.
Troy Dooley, when I first started in this industry, there was some people that I was looking up to. And, Troy, when I was watching and listening to your show, and you were always quite controversial when it came to how business was being run, especially in the direct sales and the network marketing world and space. Can you share, obviously I wanted you to come out and really introduce yourself, but I want to start diving into how you've seen the changes take place and why you chose to be such an advocate for such integrity-based foundations of these businesses.
I think it had to do with my own mistakes in life. About 2012, one of my clients, who sadly ended up being one of the world's largest Ponzi schemes, caused me to realize I was too close to the forest to see the trees. And I got sanctioned by the SEC, the attorneys got sanctioned by the SECs, and that was just a defining moment to say, okay, no more gray area. We're going to run this thing the way it needs to be run, or we're just going to get out of the business.
Well, it's such a big thing. If you think about so many of my guests that watch this show, they either started in network marketing or direct sales, right? Because that's one of the best education companies I've ever been part of, is learning how to, market, how to communicate your message. That's why I moved into building my branding agency, because I know how valuable it is to have such a clear and concise message. And network marketing and direct sales did that for me. But, there's been so much shifts with the SEC cracking down. Companies had to really stand up for, or put their money where their mouth was, right? And I remember seeing you and listening to you on your show, man. You were calling people out. And I tell you, these companies were tightening up. But have you seen, those that are in our industry currently still in network marketing, direct sales, what have you seen and how have you seen the shift happening in this industry?
Well, what's happening now is we're seeing I want to say a defining moment, and I can take it back to 2008 when the stock market crashed, when Main Street worldwide really felt like they'd been left in the cold, whether it was mortgages, whether it was the government going bankrupt. We saw what happened in Greece. We saw the Arab Spring in the Mideast. It shifted us to a post-trust era, to where now the consumers, in the old days, we all had scripts. We had all this stuff we went by. We did this. We got a yes. We got a close. None of that anymore. This is a buyer's community. This is where people are saying, okay, if I can learn to trust you, then I'm going to go. Sadly, direct sales is a lot like the religious community. They're like 6 years behind what the rest of the world is doing, sadly. So it's like we're still using the same old stuff. And now we've got guys and gals like you who are saying, wait a minute, we're going to brand this. We're going to build communities and show people this is how you can build who you are versus just building the company. And that's where the shift is taking place. People are taking that freedom and rolling with it.
Okay, so this is like one of my favorite topics, right? Because it's everything in business. And, I think you're right. When it comes to, just think back in, let's say 2007 and 8, when I started, or even 2005 when I started, I remember everyone could hide behind a flat website with a lot of fancy words, right? A lot of buy now, a lot of call me, don't believe it, don't call. And here I was coming out of the corporate environment, and I was very skeptical. And I don't know what it was. Obviously, I saw the dream through it, and I was able to take action on it. But I think, that fake it until you make it mentality was so present back then, right?
Oh, yeah.
And now you call this, and I want everyone to hear this because they may not have heard what you said. Troy said it's the post-trust era. Explain more what you mean by that, because I think businesses now more than ever, you get this, you'll transform the way people are seeing your company, your services, your offers, and what you do.
Well, people have become immune now to just hearing the propaganda. And we see it right now in politics a lot. That is such a controversial topic, but no matter what the topic is, you're not going to change somebody's mind by just spitting down their throat with all of your propaganda, because everybody is paranoid. It's like the I've been screwed syndrome. So we were able to go out there and start studying, this, to be able to say, okay, what are the 5 human elements? I call them pillars, but what is it that really drives the human psyche to say, okay, I'm going to follow Rhonda. I'm going to go see what she's doing because I relate to her. I can believe in her. And when people get the 5 main pillars, then all of a sudden they start to understand it. And when I started looking at, okay, great, I'm going to get to be on Rhonda's show, it's like, okay, let's just go see if the Unstoppable brand is following the 5 pillars, because that's a best way to be able to see it. Is not what I say, but hey, what's Rhonda's tribe think? Because I can see what you're doing. So, here you're number 1. The first pillar is you. Me, it doesn't matter who it is. We are the brand. They're no longer looking at, Procter and Gamble or all that. They look at you.
Well, okay, so let's just think about that. I mean, right now, personal brands, this is obviously why we promote it so much. It's that know, like, and trust we've talked about for years. There's a reason why, let's say, like Virgin Airlines, right? Why is Richard Branson in the front, right? Because people really want to know and they fall in love with who he is. Now, there's got a ton of companies in the back end, but we're starting to see these big companies bringing their CEOs or their founders in the front end. I've been watching too, like you'll start to see in a lot of even like commercials now, right? Where stories are in the front, right? We know that we all love a story. So if an ad or, some type of a marketing material can actually be a relatable person, right? That's now people are more wanting even, these high level brands. But, I believe this, Troy, is the more deeply we can actually be real and vulnerable. I think this is where the world is going. What is your thoughts on that?
No, I will agree with you on that. When you look at, let's use T-Mobile as an example. Their CEO in the wintertime during football does a live show on YouTube making chili, jeans, t-shirts, craziness. Thousands just watch him make his chili because they can relate to him. It's no longer about T-Mobile. It's about who the individual is. What is he doing? When Steve Jobs was around, it was the same way. Now, there's some older brands that are not that way, but the culture they create is because people believed in the message. Harley Davidson, Disney is a prime example. That message never deviated after hundreds of years, it seems like, that these guys have been around. And today it's even more so. If they can believe in you, if what you say as an individual matches what's on the website, now they know they can believe in what you're saying. And you're a living example because you guys actually show that. Here's how we got started. Man, it wasn't easy. Scary as all get out. But now look at the life that we're living, and you can too. People see that in you.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And it's, what would you say to someone, especially if they're either new or they've been in the industry for a while, or they're like coming back into the industry, whether it's, direct sales, you're still selling yourself. It doesn't matter what product you're offering, whether it is a network marketing company, your own personal product. How do you see now, people being able to differentiate themselves to where they were in the past? Like, what are some of the best techniques and the ways that they can stand out now and create more of that trust?
People need to find out the one unique thing, whatever that is, that differentiates them as an original. Because all of us are originals. When I started looking at your guys' brand, Unstoppable, and I went to each site, I pulled down everything that I could pull down to read, because you start to realize, okay, does the copy here match what the copy is on the website? Then I go watch the videos, because the personality starts to come out in the real video versus the ad copy. And that's how each of us have to be. There's not another Troy. There's not another Rhonda. There's not another Brian. People are going to gravitate to us. And if they love us, then they're going to listen to whatever it is that we're going to have to say. If they don't love us, then they're not. They're going to say, well, you guys are just blowing smoke like everybody else is.
Yeah, it makes me think, like, so many people, they try, and I did this, I remember, and I know many that can relate on the show, is when you first started your company or your business, you were listening to, let's say, salespeople. Like, I was listening to Jim Rohn, I was listening to other leaders in our industry, and I was trying to be them. And my voice would change, the way I was acting would change. And finally, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not even myself, right? My voice changes, I'm in flux, and I get all wild. And when I actually started being myself, more and more people started being more attractive.
Totally, all the time, and especially women. This is one that we've learned as we just study. they'll see a beautiful lady up there and they may bust their butt all day. They come home, they're putting on sweatpants and they're saying, there's no way I'm going to be like her. But when you just live your life, sometimes I'm gorgeous, sometimes I'm mom, sometimes I just got out of bed. When they can see all of that, then it's great. With me, they see the same hairdo all the day. It doesn't matter. You guys, they get to see the fluctuation.
Well, it's really brilliant advice, because I was told this, it was about 5 years now, and I think many women more so can relate, is one of my mentors, he's like, look, you kind of need to dumb me down. And it wasn't that I needed to be dumb. It was, stop being so on top of it all the time, Rhonda. Stop getting on your live videos and being totally done up. He's like, you got to let them realize that you don't wake up like this. I was like, what do you mean I don't wake up like this? Right? But you know what I mean? Like, it's so true though. And I think women more so get hung up on it, right? Where, it's like, I've lately in Bali, right? Everyone, it's nighttime. I have to have some, I'm up in my robe. I'm like, hey, good morning, everyone. I'm doing my stories. There's new forms of marketing now, right? I'll do now Instagram stories or Facebook stories. And that's like my realness. More and more people the last couple of years are like, I have loved you more because you just tell it, you're just real. Like, I mean, I'm 46 years old, darn it. I do not wake up like this. And I think that's probably a big message for everyone to really get, that a lot of us miss it.
What we do, we don't want to follow posers. And sadly, the internet is full of posers. Doesn't matter what demographic, doesn't matter what race, doesn't matter what country. They want to pretend. And that's old school. That is that pre-trust. Because back then, everybody just trusted everybody. It didn't matter. Oh, if it's on the internet, it must be true. If a politician says it, the media says it, didn't matter. Now, man, we get inundated with so much noise that when the story can line out and people start looking at the first chapter and in the second chapter and in the third chapter, say, wow, she or he really is leading that life. When I got hit because of my client, I didn't hide from that. We waited 24 hours. We started watching to see what everybody said. And then we started addressing the critics that were serious. Now, you got to look at some people and say, what the heck? But if it was a legitimate deal, then it's like, look, guys, I screwed up. Okay, I did this. This is my fault. Here's what happened. Bam. I thought I would lose trust. Instead, our client base grew because then Pubco started calling to say, hey, we don't want to fall into that trap. What can we do to make sure that doesn't happen? So, yeah, you just got to be real.
Yeah, I think it's a big topic. All right, so let's just think about like where people are, like in your experiences, like you were in radio for such a long time. Now, marketing has changed a lot, right? I mean, now, how do you see the shift between, well, now we've got podcasts. So I got a couple questions then. So now we got radio, now we're jumping over to podcasting. But now how do you see like the new forms of marketing happening where the trust is growing even more? Like for us, we've just moved into live, using live video quite frequently. But some of the baby boomers or the older generation business owners, like that's a big shift for them. How do they maintain this trust? Don't you think?
Well, if they start shifting too much, then the hotels are going to go bankrupt because so far those guys are still doing meetings over there, So, right. I mean, I'm being mean, but I mean, that's the way it is. Here's what we have. We have a voice. Well, it is. I still get people. I'll get a direct piece in the mail. Hey, we're holding a meeting this weekend. I had a crypto guy coming through the Emerald Coast, sending out direct mail. Hey, meet me at the hotel. It's like, why? I mean, I don't want to do that anymore. But yet, there's certain people that do it. But what we've seen in the actual grassroots, and this is the kicker, and it probably, I can't pinpoint the year. I can tell you what happened. When Hollywood went on strike, all of a sudden, all the major TV shows had Big Brother. They had Road Rules on MTV. All of a sudden, it was the inside voyeuristic type of mentality where we're getting to peek into their life. And I think that started a shift with stories. People really wanted to look at the story. So when we do lives, people say, oh, wow, this is great. And the brain, when it sees a little video TV screen starts to get inside because your eyes are pinpointing down to where, hey, I really know Rhonda. She's in her row. Oh, I know what time her and Brian get up. I know what time they go to bed. You know, I almost know when she brushes her teeth. They really feel like they're a part of it. So if we can take that, I've got one of the guys that I'm working with now, 76 years old. And he's saying, you know, on Facebook, I love it. And this is because my brother really good in the business ever. He just wants something as a side hustle. He loves direct sex, so he's getting into it. He didn't really know about Facebook. He's having to learn about Facebook. But when you can tell an authentic story, when you can say, look, I screwed up, you know, oh man, that didn't work. I'm sorry about that, guys. Whatever the case is, to where they know you're telling the truth. And every time, and this is something that I've learned, and I try to get companies to do this. If you're an influencer and you're getting paid for something, subliminally they know that, but just tell them, hey man, this is a product. I'm getting paid for it. Okay. I mean, just tell them, because if you're truthful with them, then you get so much goodwill, and somebody's going to say, okay, I want to be like that. I either want to leave that 9 to 5. I want to get my marriage fixed. Whatever the case is, they start to shift personally because they see the integrity in you. And that's what builds this trust factor that just keeps going.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so this reminds me of something. It's a really big topic, I think, too, for the audience to listen to is when you're going through something. So being transparent is everything. Now, recently, there was a very well-known person. I won't mention who it is. He was in the middle of, I call it the shit storm, right? You're either in a shit storm, coming out of one, or you're going back in. Like, you're just in a cycle. Like, that's just how life is. There's stuff going on, right? And this guy was in the middle, and he just got on a live. Now, instead of just being transparent and saying, this is what's happening, this is how I'm handling it, this guy lost his shit. I mean, he just like was crying, and I'm like, okay. I would have to say that that's one moment when you don't go live. Like, just get through it a bit so you know your actions that you're taking to get through it instead of diving in and just falling on your face. I mean, he lost his brand, like, because you know this, it takes years to build a brand and trust. It takes one screw up to destroy it. Can you add to that a bit?
Yeah, I can. What people don't want is emotion. They don't want drama.
Yeah.
If there's an issue, and in my case, not only was it an issue, but we had settled a year before. The SEC had said, no, this will never go public. I learned not to trust the government at all, you know. And then they put it out in a press release, which it's like, what the heck? But they did it when I was serving at a leadership conference with 15,000 people. So it's like, seriously, could you have picked a different time? You know, now, frustrated, pissed off to no end, but we waited 24 hours. The emotions were gone. We were looking at what was being said. We had already made a decision. I'm going to hit this full bore, and we're just going to tell people the facts. I did it. Here's what I learned from it. The laws from 1934, who knew? Okay, here's what happened. Never going to do it again. If you split hairs, then it's going to come back to haunt you. And that's what people have to do. You don't want to get all emotional. You don't want to whine and cry and do it. Facts. People want to know the facts. And what did you learn? We call that wisdom journalism. It's not about lambasting people anymore. I really don't do that. I look at the situation. What is the crap they're going through? And what can we learn from that as all the people that are around them? And once we learn it, now let's talk about that. Here's what happened. Here's how it's happened. Here's how you don't want to go into it. And whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else, if we stay focused on that, then people say, okay, I'll still go to them for advice. I'll still follow them a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. I mean, because I see it often, right? And a lot of times, I mean, I work with a lot of women, right? And, you know, of course, they all come to me because I want to be an unstoppable mama, but I'm going all through this stuff. And I got this husband, I got this. And I'm like, look, you know what? We as women, I don't care who you are, it doesn't matter what gender, just get your shit together and get mindful. Because as an influencer and as someone that actually has, you know, a business and a message, if you care enough about it, get your brain straight, like become mindful, not mindful. And as much as that sounds primitive, you know, as we've got to be able to think at the top of our game at all times. We are building businesses and we are transparent online. And, you know, this kind of situation that you were in, yeah, you could have easily just said, whoa, this is ridiculous. What's going on here? And everyone loves the car crash. But see, they don't help the car crash. They just like to look at it and talk about it and share it, you know? So it's like, just get it together, look at what's taking place, and then deliver a message that's trustworthy. And I think that's why the topic is so strong tonight, because being real and saying, look, this is what took place. This is how I'm handling it. One of my favorites was Tim Ferriss got really thrown on the cross when he launched the 4-Hour Work Week. And now, you know, we were obviously big followers of Tim Ferriss when we started traveling. But it wasn't until we learned from what took place with Tim Ferriss, it was right after Brian and I had really gained a lot of wealth. And we realized from network marketing in our business, we grew a lot of wealth in 3 years. So we invested heavy, right? 07, 08 is when we lost it all after investing. Now, we were so embarrassed, but we thought we needed to live in that same, not lie, but it became a lie because we were afraid to tell anyone, right? And so Tim Ferriss he really got drugged through the coals on a statement that he made. And he came straight up and just said, look, this is what happened to me. And he lost a lot of money. It was one of his big investments. And, you know, he was really honest about it. And it took us about a month or so to get real and tell people, look, this industry gave us cash heavy. We were able to invest. We were not smart with our investment and we've lost everything. But the one thing we learned is that our bank account did not equate to the value of who we were. And when we said that and shared the story, we had so many people like rooting us on, right? Like, yes, okay, you can do it. And we kept doing the same message. Didn't mean we had the same amount of money in our bank, but it didn't even matter.
No, it didn't. And that's pillar number 3, connection. You connected with the heart of the people because they realized, okay, they're not perfect. Oh, wow, they made mistakes, but they're learning from it. Hey, I can learn from them. You know, one thing that I've never done on the internet, we never talk about crypto from a personal standpoint, you know, because it's such a high risk investment. It's so controversial that we've just done what we've done and we never talk about that. Now, privately, lots of people know, they understand, but what's happened is because we don't talk about, hey, look, this is what you ought to do. Go, 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 go. This is going to be awesome. People now come and say, hey, can you tell us a little bit about what the crypto is? Sure, let me explain to you, and this is why you probably shouldn't do it. Because you're on a limited income, you don't have, if you lose money, mama's mad, daddy's mad, somebody's mad, don't do it. Start small, work your way up. Because Rhonda, one thing that I've learned, and this is part of the underbelly of direct sales, but there's a whole lot of posers out there that come to other people and say, hey, Troy, can I borrow a little bit because it's not like it's supposed to be right now. Things are tight. And these are great people. They just, company's gone down, something happened because they're living so far above their means. No cash, no emergency fund, no nothing. It's just, hey, look at my jet, look at my house, look at my car. I got lease payments on them, but I mean, hey, look at them. And that's what people don't want anymore. They want you to connect at the heart. Yeah. Crap, man, I've been bankrupt. I got 2 kids in prison. Whatever the case is, if you tell them that, but I'm still cranking, I'm still going, they're okay, I'm in, let's go. That's the key, connection.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. That's I think probably one of the biggest. And I think everyone, if you're going to learn something today, this is one of the biggest because we all go through something, right? We all go through it. And to be able to, just to be completely real, let all the garbage out. People don't like the flash anymore. I'm like, I traded in my Mercedes for my motorbike. Like, I mean, you know, like here we are. I'm living in an RV the last 30 days. But the great thing is when people see the reality of what you can have without needing to be showboaty, now we're going to more reality. So so share this last couple pillars because I want to really close the loop on this because this post-trust era it's so vitally important. We all get these 5 pillars. I'll have you recap them all when we're done. I know that's going to help drive the foundation of people's businesses moving forward.
It is. And pillar 4, we've already touched on, it's story. People want to know the backstory. They want to know really what's going on. And we're getting ready to do that. I've got, because of some stuff we've gone through as a family in the last 2 years, I'm getting ready to bring that story forward. And because people have said, Troy, can't you just share? You've helped us. You've helped our kids. Can't you just share what's really going on? So that's what we're starting to do, is to get that, because if people know where you come from, they can also be that sounding board. If they love you a lot, then they'll say, hey, Rhonda, you didn't used to act like this. Hey, Troy, why are you acting? Why'd you get the big watch? You used to get tattoos. Now you got this watch. You're looking like these weirdos over here. I mean, that's what they want. They want just connect, give the story, and bring people into that story. Too many times we want to be up here. It's like a freaking, well, you've said it. Matter of fact, it's on your website. I was laughing because you said we were living the American dream. And then you said, but was it really a dream? I'm thinking, no, it's a nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, you're like, what am I going through? And that's it. And then pillar number 5, that's ownership. And it's usually through that crisis where you have to decide, I'm going to own this. This is who I am. Whether you like it or not, boom. And I mean, I think there might be 2 pictures of me in a suit and tie, because that's just not me. I'm not faking it. Look, I probably won't be buried in a suit and tie. So it's just not going to happen. And people started to realize that. They started to realize this is who you are. Now, at first, it'll freak people out when you're just being who you are. Wow, she really doesn't get up, made up like Barbie? I thought she just had that face on the whole time. No, she's more like Freddy Krueger. She puts the mask on, okay? I mean, it's like, what? But once we've done that, if we look at ourselves, I'll do the 5 pillars real quick. You, us, is number 1. You have to realize who you are. Then you've got to realize you're not the hero. You're the sage or the guide. It's them. You're serving other people. You're pouring life into other people. When you do that and you stop being the one out there, all of a sudden your followers become leaders because they duplicate. That's duplication, not following some nutcase's personality like we both did. It's like, no, man, I'm going to go create leaders and let them go do whatever they want. I love watching the testimonials on Unstoppable, because it's like, these are just people, real people saying, I can do this. I can be who I am. We can have freedom, and go do it. That's the deal. 3 is the connection. You have to connect at a heart level. Your story matters. Facts change. I mean, crying out loud, we've seen facts change every freaking election out there. So, it isn't about the facts. It's about the truth. It's about the trust. Then your story, and then finally, again, ownership. When you put those together, sky's the limit, Rhonda. And you guys are a living, breathing example of, here's who we are, here's what we're doing, come for the ride and let us help you out.
Well, I appreciate that. I love those 5 steps, because it's easy to break. We talk about so many different topics, but the breaking it down like that, because, there's so many people that they're either just starting out or they're leaving their jobs because they want the freedom life. They're like, what's the best way that I do it? And I tell you, I've learned this from you from day one. And, integrity became such a primary role in what we did. And when you get integrity in everything in your business, those 5 pillars just present themselves on a consistent basis. And you just can't, it's like you can't turn away. You see it as it is, right? So I really love this topic. And I know that our audience, guys, follow Troy. If you haven't in the past, if you've never met Troy, he's very humble, and he's not, pointing it in one direction. I know that about you, but I do want everyone to make sure they do follow you, because the foundation of what you provide and what you have provided for our industry and continue to serve is not overlooked. And I'm just more honored to have you, here today than ever. And I'd love to ask you a couple questions. I always do a little fire round. Can you do some fire round with me? All right. So I always ask these questions because it helps us understand who we're talking to. And all right, first question is, are you a red wine, white wine, or a no wine kind of guy?
I'm a no wine kind of guy.
No wine kind of guy. All right. Well, I'm a red wine gal. Everyone knows that. So they all know every time you meet me, just bring me a super sexy velvety Cabernet.
I'm going to remember that.
No wine kind of guy. Do you have a beverage of choice?
Yeah, if I had a beverage of choice that was alcoholic, it would be bourbon.
Ooh, okay. I'm not into that, but I can see that of you if that was yours. All right. Now I'm a spicy kind of gal in all angles. Are you a Tabasco or a Sriracha? Or are you an anti-spice?
Oh, no. I would definitely be Tabasco.
Yeah.
Louisiana hot sauce, probably even more than Tabasco.
Yeah, Sriracha to me is like a Chinese food kind of spice, a hot sauce. And Tabasco goes on everything.
Goes on everything. It's from Louisiana, and I love New Orleans. So, I mean, you got me there.
All right, well then with that being said, because I was just in New Orleans, are you a crawfish etouffee or are you red beans and rice?
No, red beans and rice. I will do the red beans and rice all day long.
Me too. Oh, well, Troy, it's been such an honor to having you here. I absolutely adore you. Is there any place that you want to point anyone in the direction other than finding you on Facebook?
Well, they can go to Beachside CEO. You know, anything that I'm putting up is going to be there. We've got a brand new news site that we want to launch in probably the next 30 days called the Business News Desk. And we're covering everything that's in Chicago. So if it's a Main Street type of business, we're going to put it in there covers because everybody's looking for something authentic. Then they may not be direct sales. No, they want to be about the enough. So we just want to be able to cover everything.
Well, I know that'll be one of the best resources because anything Troy's ever put out is always up to date, and it's one of the best resources that I've ever tapped into. So make sure you follow them there, guys. Well, Troy, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave everyone with this. If you're going to create a brand, create a sexy brand, and if you're going to be anything, be unstoppable. We'll see you guys all next week. Make sure you comment down below so Troy knows how much you appreciated everything he shared today. And make sure if you have any questions, ask them down below. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Same channel. Thanks, Troy. Have a great one. Bye.